All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have a special guest, Anne-Marie, homesteader, blogger, and urban beekeeper. That means she keeps bees in the middle of the big city. So you might hear some traffic noise. There's a busy intersection right here behind us. And also right behind us is the hive filled with bees that pretty soon here she's going to start draining honey from. So I just wanted to talk a little bit, discuss, about the interesting topic of backyard beekeeping and what her experience is. So just thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to hear about what you have to say. I just want to start off with what got you interested in beekeeping?
Well, it's kind of funny in that my son got into beekeeping first. He got a scholarship at the Trinity Valley Beekeeping Association. He wanted to get into beekeeping, so I never really imagined myself as a beekeeper. But I went beside him, and they were wonderful. They wanted to help the new generation embrace beekeeping because there are a lot of older generation beekeepers, but the new generation not so much, and the bees really need our help. So they gave him freebies and a free class on it and a mentor, so that was a really positive experience. And when I came beside him to work the hives with him, I really got interested in it. It was exhilarating and fascinating, learning all about the bees. And so then when he got a little bit older and lost interest in it, then I took it up and I was hooked.
That's cool. Next question, I want to ask you just what is the most challenging thing about beekeeping?
I think it's the frequency that I have to check on the hives. I kind of thought before I became a beekeeper that we would just put the bees in the hive and we would leave them and we would harvest honey. I didn't really understand the amount of time commitment it would take, and that I would need to check on the hives weekly and manage them. So that was the hardest thing, because I have a busy schedule, so that time commitment is difficult for me.
So why do you need to check on the hives so much?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. The hives can be attacked by pests, and if you, like the small hive beetle can be a bad pest for the hive, and if you leave it for say 6 weeks, then the small hive beetle can just take over and the bees can just leave the hive. But if you check on it, you can put a small hive beetle trap in there and help the bees. They herd the small hive beetle into the trap. And so, so you're working together to keep the health of the hive. And then the other reason, especially if you have a top bar hive, this is a top bar, and you provide them with this top bar for the bees to build their comb on. And they're supposed to build right here on this bar, but sometimes if they don't think there's enough space here or whatnot, they can build across this way across the bars.
Oh no.
And so you can see that if you try to then come and lift out a bar to harvest honey or to just check on the bees and see, if there's a queen there, if baby bees are being born, well then the comb breaks and it can fall into the hive and it's a big sticky mess. So, but if you check on them each week, you can correct this cross combing and you can keep them on the straight and narrow. So.
Cool. All right, I gotta ask, have you ever been stung?
Oh, yes, I have. I could laugh and laugh and laugh about that because I really thought, before I became a beekeeper, I really didn't think I would get stung. But you have to understand that there's a disconnect between those bees you see out in the flowers in the field, and they're just so gentle. They're gathering nectar and pollen, and there's nothing you need to worry about there. But then when you're opening their hive and you're stealing their food and moving around their baby bees, well then they're going to defend themselves. I mean, just imagine if someone broke in your home, started stealing your food out of your pantry, and started messing with your children, you would defend yourself. And so that's the same with bees. They're going to defend themselves. So yeah, I've gotten stung. I have.
All right. I wanted to ask you, what advice would you give to somebody who was interested in beekeeping or maybe just starting out?
I would definitely say to take a class on beekeeping. There are lots of classes. If you search it in your area, you can take a class and they'll teach you all about beekeeping. And there are several pests that are attacking our bees that are fairly new on the scene. and it takes some education to handle those. And then if you can't afford a class, I would say read everything you get your hands on and watch YouTube videos. And then I would say go ahead and buy your suit and suit up and work the bees like you did with me. Work the bees with somebody and get a mentor, somebody in your area that can really show you and get an idea whether that's something that you really want to do and you're really fascinated by.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I'm really glad you got to watch this video with us and take part in this journey. I hope you learned a lot about bees. It's just a really fascinating topic, and it's just really cool to sit down with somebody that's experienced this journey and just hear what their experience was and what they learned. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story, as always. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.